What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Fatherhood Experience, where we help dads become better dads. We are your hosts, Jason Priest and Zach Smith, and we have a very exciting episode for you guys today. But before we dive in, I want to just give you guys one small request. We've been getting a lot of you guys reaching out. I've had quite a few of you email me. I have quite a few of you guys join our free group. Lots of interaction over there. So we appreciate that, dude. We're excited to see you guys spill into our world so that you can get more value from us, man. We want to help you guys at a higher level. But what I want you guys to know first and foremost is this. We love your episode requests. We've been getting some of you guys asking certain questions, asking us to do an episode on a certain topic. Go into the show notes, leave us a review, and then put your requested topic in the show note or into the review. Go leave a 5-star review. If you hate the show, don't leave us a 5-star review. You leave us a 1-star review. But if there's a topic that you want to hear about, that's what we encourage you to do so that we read every review, but then that way we can skim through there and see if there's any topics that you guys want us to cover. So with geez, dude, I'm all over the map today in the middle of the holidays. I can't fucking talk. Without further ado, let's dive in, dude. I'm excited for today's episode because, like you and I talked about before I hit record, this shit's being thrown in our face on a day-to-day basis, and I think it's important as fathers that we bring it to the forefront and not let it drift away. Because you know me, man. I want to know what the hell's going on with my kids. I want to know what's going on in their school. And I want to be educated so that I can make the proper move as a dad. And that's all about being proactive. So let's dive in, dude. First, before we go there, dude, how's your week been so far? I know you got some travel coming up. When you hitting the road, man?
Saturday, Christmas Eve is when I will be flying out, and I hope that the airport is not extremely crowded. But it probably will be, but it's all good. Everything's good though, man. Everything's good on my end. I like talking about these podcast topics that we like to discuss because this is where we really get to speak our mind. This is where we really get to ruffle some feathers. This is where we get to speak objectively and truthfully.
Yep.
So prepare yourself, ladies and gentlemen, and just in case there's wives there listening as well with the guys. We're going to be talking about something today that is extremely prominent, and it's for some reason extremely prevalent to this day. No matter how many people, I guess, contest it, or if we could say, for lack of better words here, man. Let's just dive into it, man. Let's talk about this stuff, man.
Let's go, do Jason. It, dude. And I think I'll start by saying that, and for you guys who have followed us for a while, we don't dive too deep into the politics very often. I personally never got very involved in politics until it started impacting my life on a day-to-day basis. And that was a couple of years ago when we started with the COVID hoax now that we know is official. The stuff that's coming out about this, the vaccine and everything around it, is very disturbing. And we're not going to do vaccine talk today. However, the reason I talked about that and gave that part of the kind of segue into this is that I think all of this runs congruently. What we're seeing is a demoralization of society. Testosterone levels are at an all-time low. We've ripped dads out of the home. We have dads have no support groups, support measures. We're seen as providers and nothing more. We've put women back into the workforce, and we've turned our kids. Which again, let me back up on the women in the workforce thing. I went down this rabbit hole, and I don't know if you've ever gone down this, dude, but the whole premise behind putting women back into the workforce. And I'm all about, look, my wife is a career-driven woman, dude. She's a pharmacist. She loves it. That's what she does. She thrives in that environment. She does not want to be a stay-at-home mom. She went to school for 10 years to do this. This is her passion. And I get it. But I went down the rabbit hole of the women movement, of getting them back into the workforce. And dude, if you go down that thing long enough, you'll tie back to like the wealthiest families in the world, like the Rothschild, these people that control the banks, right? And they saw an opportunity in our country where men were the provider, women were staying at home with the kids. And we're talking back in like the 60s and 50s, where it was very common for women not to work, right? Like that used to be the setup in our country. And now their big push was like, oh shit, well, we could put women into the workforce. We get to tax them. We're already taxing the dad. And then we get to control their kids' education because now mom's not there to teach them. Dad's not, he's out at work as well. And now we got kids in the educational system for 6 or 8 hours a day. And Now we get to educate them how we want to. Well, you and I have talked about this on the show before, I believe, but like the things that need to be taught in school aren't taught in school. We don't learn about money management. We don't learn about taxes.
Nope.
We don't learn about self-defense. We don't learn about
Credit.
growing our own food. All the things that could be necessary for thriving in this world, right, are not taught to us. We learn things like algebra or fucking chemistry that you'll never use in your entire life again.
Well, dude, how about the things that are like important to sustaining a healthy lifestyle? Like they teach us chemistry, physics, anatomy, biology. And there's also substrates of that. I mean, there's organic chemistry, there's inorganic chemistry, like there's everything, right? How many bones are in the body, how many muscles are in the body, what your organs are, and how many of them there are. What do? They teach you everything about the body, but they don't teach you how to take care of it. So
it's insane, dude. Like, and so now looking back on my education, it's like I see that, and I'm like, I remember going to those classes, and I was like, I was a pretty smart kid who was making a lot of bad choices. And so I was one of those study the night before and could crush my test and just move on.
Me too. My wife hates it.
But yeah, and look, I get it. Like that's not the greatest way to learn, but I was able to be in elevated classes, when I was a junior and a senior, college classes, college algebra, and all these things. And I look back on that and I'm like, for what? Like I literally use none of that today. So I tell you all this because when I went down that rabbit hole and, I've not ever been a conspiracy theorist, but over the last 2 years, I think that just about every quote unquote conspiracy theory that we've talked about has come true, whether it's been a matter of months or close to a year. Every one of them is coming true. And so I'm thinking more and more about this. And when I went down that rabbit hole and I saw, wow, the Rothschild, like we talk about Elon Musk being the richest man in the world when we don't peel back the onion layer long enough to see who truly has the most wealth in the world. And that's not publicized. These people own the fucking banks. The Rothschilds and these crazy rich families, they own way more than Elon Musk could ever imagine. His net worth is in the billions. Theirs is in the trillions. It's insane. Okay. So when you go down that rabbit hole and you think you start connecting the dots, right? Dad's already getting taxed. He's in the workforce. Mom's going to work. We're going to liberate her. We're going to tell her she needs to be strong and brave and proud and get into the workforce. Now we get to tax her too. And we also get to take control of the kids and indoctrinate them into our world and make them be nice little obedient citizens that take out large student loans for a fucking art degree and end up working at Starbucks, wondering why they didn't level up more in life with their art degree, right? And this whole process is toxic as fuck and it needs to change. We need a complete overhaul of the educational system if you want to know my honest opinion. But I say all that with the common word there being indoctrinate, which is the topic of our podcast today.
Specifically
because, dude,
children.
It's insane, dude. Like, so what do I mean when I talk about indoctrinate? We're talking about the blue teachers that are, and when I say blue, I'm not talking about blue or red. I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about liberals versus conservatives or Republicans versus, Democrats. I'm talking about the people that like to be blue. They like to dye their hair blue or crazy colors and green and all these fun stuff, the facial piercings and the tattoos and all this. Now, I have no problem with you doing that, right? I have no problem with the way that you look, the way that you dress. You're entitled to that. I had some fucking facial piercings when I was growing up myself, okay? I also have my fair share of tattoos. I have nothing against that. But there's a common thing. Why do they all look like that? Why are they all the same? And why are they indoctrinating our kids into their world, right? When you talk about gender with my 7-year-old, right? This isn't happening in my school. I live in Texas. I haven't heard a lot about that. But we did have a client of ours who came to our last retreat who isn't lucky enough to live in Texas. And I think he lives in either Oregon or Washington, right? And he told us the story about exactly what his kid had gotten in trouble for mislabeling or using the wrong pronouns to call his teacher, which was I forget it was a man or a woman that wanted to be the other, right? All the pronoun thing. I'm not here to debate science because we know that science says there's men and there's women. We also know that, going back to what you just said about what you learned in grade school and in high school, the anatomy and the physiology of these two people are also quite different. One of them has a penis and the other one has a vagina. There is no gender fluid. There is no there's 30 something names of them now. In fact, they've redone their flag again so that they can include 18 different colors in this thing. I have no problem with that. Why can't you just be gay and fucking be gay? Why do you have to indoctrinate my kid? Why do you have to have my kid call you him, her, or she, they, or whatever the fuck you want to be called, dude? This whole systemic issue that we have is poisoning our youth, and it is going to be detrimental to our future generations if it continues. So this is what I wanted to at least peel back layer number one. So let's dive in. Where would you like to go from here?
Dude, there's many ways that this conversation can go. But, what we're doing here is we're just speaking objectively, right? You can't argue with science, no. Right?
Well, you can.
You can't argue. You can, but if you don't have a valid
theory, TM next to it.
And if you don't have a valid theory backed up with the data to support that claim, and you don't have enough of it, your sample size isn't big enough, there's too many limitations or whatever it may be, guess what? You're an outlier. We're just talking about what the general consensus of the scientific literature says, because whatever the general consensus of the scientific community is, guess what? That's pretty much the truth. That's the reality of what it is. And people who want to be polarizing and speak about the opposites, be the outliers, they do so because they're just trying to be marketing and they're trying to market you and be gimmicky and sell you some nonsense. That's usually what typically happens. Yeah. We know in general a vast majority of everything. We have a pretty decent understanding about a majority of things. I think that's pretty safe to say. There's a lot of things that we don't know about the universe in general, right? Like we know that there are multiple stars for every grain of sand on Earth. That's insane if you really think about that. We know there's a lot more to the gut than we know currently. We know that they've compared the gut to that of the universe, where there's it's so complicated, so complex. We can't know all of it, but we do have a general consensus as to what it does, what it's about, and all that good stuff, right? So we're speaking objectively and truthfully here when it comes to the whole gender identity crisis thing, especially within children. Children don't know this shit.
That's where
when a child, this is my biggest issue with this, because like you said, it's funny because there are going to be a lot of people out there who maybe are a little bit more on the blue politically side, right?
And that's okay.
Side. They might not agree with us because I don't identify. Funny, right? I don't identify as red or blue. I like certain things from different sides, dude. I'm just a level-headed, normal citizen that just like things, and some things from both sides make sense to me, right?
Well, and I'll tell you, even from my standpoint, dude, the more that I learn about myself over the last, let's call it 6 to 12 months, I thought I was full red. I thought I'm in Texas, I'm a conservative Republican, yada. That ain't the truth, dude. When I started really finding more and more out about what that really means and who I am and what my values are, I'm way more libertarian than I am anything else. I just want to be left the fuck alone. I want to pay my fair share in taxes. I don't want to be gouged in taxes, but I want the government overreach to be out of my hair. I want to be my family to be left alone. So I'm mostly libertarian, and I'm with you, dude. I'm not a big left or right guy.
No, I'm not either, man. And everybody, that's the beauty of America, right? The ability to believe whatever it is that you want to believe, because I'm originally from California, which is extremely blue, right? And guess what? A lot of those people there have great hearts, but if you can't back it up with logic, then it just doesn't make sense to me, because I'm more of a logical kind of guy. We understand that there's different types of people. There's different personality types. There's right brain versus left brain. One's analytical, one's more emotional, right? So if you're an emotional, impulsive type of person, you're like a right brain person. If you're an analytical person, you don't like to make decisions without having the data first, you're like a left brain person. Everybody's different.
And that's
again, that's the beauty of America, is that we accept everybody. But the problem is, when you start to try to indoctrinate people, especially kids, anybody under the age of 18, when you try to manipulate their thought process and try to turn them into something that they might otherwise not be, that is fuckery.
Yeah, it is.
That's not even a word, but that is fuckery.
It's pure fuckery.
And do not try to force your opinions onto anybody else. Don't form don't force your gender stuff down my kid's throat. Don't force your religious stuff down my kid's throat. Don't force your political beliefs down my kid's throat, or any of that stuff. If you're in a school and you're there to teach math, teach my fucking kid what 1 + 1 is. not what boy plus dress equals fucking gender fluidity, boy, girl, whatever the fuck. Like, what's going on here? Like, that's not what you're paid for. Like, what's going on here? You know what I mean?
Demoralization of society. That's what's going
It
on.
doesn't make
And
sense.
it's, when you talk about that, like, here's the thing, dude. And I'll set the record straight. Like, and I love, we talked about this a little bit before, but there's an account out there called Gays Against Groomers. And I love it. Right. If you're gay and you do you and you want to be gay, totally respect it, dude. I got no problem with you. Just be gay and shut the fuck up. I'm right.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. I have cousins I love, dude. I love to death. They're great people. They're some of my favorite people. I have a gay cousin who's a girl, gay cousin who's a guy. I have a gay brother-in-law. Dude, there's gay people left and right of me. And guess what? I love them all the same.
Shut the fuck up and be gay.
Just do not say I'm going to do whatever it takes to turn your son into a gay person too. Because now I'm just like, hold the fuck on. No, you're not.
You're actually mentally challenged or mentally disturbed, if that's what you're talking about.
I'm here to tell you that I don't mind you being in my kid's life because there's going to be gay people. That's the reality, right? Mm-hmm. We understand that there's only two sexes, but yes, there can be gender issues with some people. There's gender dysmorphia and there's multiple genders. I get it. Sure, live the life you want, but you do not get to tell my kid the life that they're going to live. If a kid cannot buy cigarettes under the age of 18, why the hell do we think it's a good idea for them to try to change genders and sexes ultimately at the end of the day?
They're doing it. They're doing it, and they're doing it at less than 10 years old.
Crazy.
Have you seen the number of hospitals that are still doing gender surgeries in our country right now, cutting off dicks and breasts?
They can do it in certain states without the authority of the parents, which is bad. And the reason why we're talking about this is not because there's going to be some of these issues. Because look, some kids are going to have those kinds of fucking things. That's just part of growing up, right? You find out who the hell you are. But you cannot allow a child who can't even buy fucking cigarettes, rent a fucking car, or buy alcohol. You cannot tell them that they can cut their fucking dick off. That's dumb as shit. And that's ultimately going to have, dude, it's either they're going to be happy or they're going to do like a lot of them do and be absolutely fucking miserable because
the horror stories are extremely sad. I read one the other day.
That's why we're talking about it. Yeah, it's very sad, man.
It's very sad, and that's this huge a big part of this, dude. Is like, the number one, the root problem that I have with all this is the indoctrination of the kids, and I'll get back to that in a second. But I was reading, one of those like a Reddit forum where these trans people have like a Reddit forum where they transitioned. And then there's a forum. One of these forums is all about people who have transitioned and regret it. And they're spilling their beans on there and how much their life has been ruined. And dude, I read one the other day that it fucking ripped my heart out, man. Like, this person was speaking out against it, right? And they hate themselves now. And they're like, I'll never trust myself again. I was in this very fragile emotional state when I was, I forget, it was like 16 or 17. I had a double mastectomy, had, hormone replacement therapy and all this. And now I will never be able to have kids. I know that I'm a woman. I want to be a woman. I want kids. And my life is ruined. And I can never even trust myself again because of this decision that I've made. And the influence that was being put on this child by the parents, by the surrounding, the schools, the people, all supporting the decision as this, oh, it's okay. You need to go do you. We're all inclusive. If you want to be a boy, you can be a boy. It's okay. Like, that fucking mentality is sickening to me, and it's disturbing. And it's the indoctrination of our children, but it's also the demoralization of our society. When you want to break down a society, go back and look at what they did in Nazi Germany. If you go and look at if you go read Klaus Schwab's book, even go read COVID-19, The Great Reset, that was written pre-vaccine. This is why I don't get why people are not more awake to this shit. Like, this has been their plan, and they're going to execute their plan again soon. This is all being mapped out for 2023 leading up to 2024. We are going to have another pandemic. They are going to run the exact same play, and you guys got to be ready for it. But here's the thing, man. Like, and this is what drives me the most insane about this is I'm trusting my child in the education system that I'm told that I can trust my kid in. And you force me to take them there, right? If I don't take my kid to school, I get in trouble, right? If my kid misses a certain amount of classes, I get in trouble. That's back on the parents. So you're forcing me to put my kid in public education or choose an alternative, which definitely is in the play for us in the future. Because my kid right now is at a public elementary school that's rated a 10 out of a 10 in Texas, right? So great school right down the street. I'm able to walk them there. We're in Texas, so there's not nearly the issues that there would be in a California or a New York or some of these bluer states. But when I'm supposed to, as a parent, right, trust my child, trust you to take care of my child, and that my child is safe with you, and they're learning the things they need to learn to accelerate in life and grow in life and actually become a productive member of society. And you are indoctrinating them into your world of grooming them to be a trans person, grooming them to be gay, grooming them to be whatever you want, right? I don't know what your angle is. You might have a different angle than the next groomer, but they hate the word groomer. Why is it that we see this massive influx of these people, this same bloodline that I'm talking about? Why is this massive influx of people signing up to be teachers? Why is that? Is this arranged? Is this organized by someone? Is this because teachers' pay sucks and we're attracting a very shitty quality of person to provide education? Is like what is the problem here, right? Like, why are we seeing this trend? And I don't know that I have the answer.
By the way, we're not calling teachers shitty.
Shitty talent pool. If you have,
got you. Yeah, they're great teachers. They are great teachers. Let's just make sure that we're not here trying to blast everybody saying you guys
there's
all
a lot
suck
of amazing teachers.
There's a lot of great ones. So
and my
just
son
want to
has
make sure
had
we
his
throw
fair
that in
share
there
so far of really good ones. No, what I'm saying, attracting a shitty talent pool of teachers, because if you're only paying bottom rung pay to do a very, very difficult job, as you and I can both agree, being a teacher is fucking hard, right? You're dealing with snotty nosed kids all day that are there to back talk. They're the kids do what kids do. And so I don't know what the answer is, but I know the current trend, the current trajectory of where we're headed with this is not good. And I'll reference Dave Chappelle for a second here too. It's like I talked about earlier when you were bringing up your family members and things that were gay. Like, just be gay and shut the fuck up, right? I think there's a meme out there that's where I got that.
You said that. Well, not me.
Well, but there's a
but
meme.
I know what you mean.
There's a meme out there.
Before you even talk about the Dave Chappelle thing, dude. So I do have another friend of mine who's at the gym. I met him at the gym. The dude's gay, right? The dude's gay. But it's funny because he always talks about how he hates these new generation gay people because of how hard and how hard they're trying to be gay.
They all do, dude. Yes.
He calls himself
theme
it's hilarious.
Gays.
He calls himself, he's like, I'm like an OG gay. I'm just like a gay dude that just happens to like guys, but I don't need to go around fucking rocking my hips and speaking super feminine like and being overly dramatic and like wearing crazy colored hairs and all kinds of like wearing dresses and like no bottoms or something, like, because there's some of those gay people walk around like butt naked in like San Francisco and stuff like that. Like he's like, you don't need to do that to be gay. It's just not a requirement, right? It's not a requirement. Exactly. It's not a requirement. It's like, it's obnoxious. That's kind of what he's saying. And he said those people are the ones that force their opinions down everybody's throat. Those are the people who I personally like to describe. It's kind of like an extreme vegan, right? Who they're going to a steak restaurant and be like, you're a murderer and blah, blah, and they'll disrupt your shit. Like, why don't you just let me make my own decisions? You know what I mean? Like, I don't go into vegan restaurants and throw slabs of steak all over the place, right? It's like, those are the people who I like to describe as they're so open-minded that they're closed-minded. Yeah. Like, you're with me or you're against me. Whereas most logical, level-headed human beings will understand that as adults, we will be different. We will have different opinions, and it's absolutely okay. And as a matter of fact, it is kind of a prerequisite to quote unquote growing up, right? Because we know age is nothing but how old your body is, not necessarily how old your mind is. If you want to be an adult, you have to understand that it is okay to agree to disagree. That is what makes adults adults. And anybody who can't do that, you're just a whiny little bitch. I don't care.
100% agree with you.
There are men, women, and bitches. Bitches are the ones that have never grown up, yet their body has aged over the course of time, and they just don't get it. I can have my opinions and you can have yours. And everybody should be there. That's their right as a human being to choose your path. If you want to be broke, cool. You want to be overweight, whatever. Just don't complain about it. The moment you start complaining about your situation, not making any changes, that's when you're now you can just shut the fuck up. You know what I
You
mean?
can go over with the victims and be out of here, because nobody that
Mhm.
wants to do better in life likes victim mentality. Nobody that actually has a desire to get better resonates with the victim mentality. And what you're describing, dude, like they can all be grouped into that victim mentality, right? Like that's the
It's your
thing. And
choice. It's your choice. Just
it
don't
is.
complain about it. If you choose it, then be there
Cool, man.
happily. Otherwise,
Congrats. You don't have to
make a
tell the whole
change.
world about it, right?
Correct. Yep. Be a
So,
be a be a victim or be a victor. It's your choice. Everybody has that choice, regardless of if you want blue hair, pink hair, boy, girl. It doesn't matter. There are successful gay people. There are successful fucking not gay people.
there's
You know what I
successful
mean?
trans people. Cool.
Right.
Don't tell me about it. I don't want to know. You do you. I'm not getting in your face and telling you about the amazing sex that I had with my wife last night.
Right. I'm not telling you why you have to be straight, right? I don't tell gay people you got to be straight. I don't tell vegans that you got to eat meat. I don't tell them any of that stuff. I go, hey, man, you know what? If you're happy, good for you.
I also don't
Good
tell them
for
that they're
you.
allowed to choose. I don't tell my son that, hey, you can be a boy or a girl. And I'll get to that in a second. I want to go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because that's something that I want to cover here, and I know that you
100%. No, I fully intended. I actually wrote it down here on my notes
okay.
just to make sure I didn't forget, because that's extremely important, actually.
Yeah, 100%. And so, the meme that I'm talking about, I see it on Twitter whenever I'm over there, and like if somebody, if there's a story about somebody that's really openly boisterous about being gay or being trans or whatever, I always see this meme, and it's like, oh, you're gay, shut the fuck up and be gay then. And it's like, it's the same mentality. And I think that everyone listening to this show can agree, like, express yourself. Cool. When you're a teenager and you're trying to like come into your own, express yourself. Again, I did the face piercings. I had a fucking eyebrow and a tongue ring. I had a bunch of tattoos. That is not who I am now. That is who I was back then. I was trying to find my way, and that's okay. We all go through phases. But when you are trying to force your views, you trying to force your values onto other people's children, I have a real big problem with that, because it is my job as the dad, and that is not your job as the teacher, to tell my son that he can choose to be a girl if he wants. It's okay. This whole I was assigned male at birth. What the fuck are you talking about? No,
No
you're
shit.
a man.
Based on your chromosomes and your genitalia.
They assigned
Yes.
that to you. Yeah, exactly.
Science.
Yeah. Science assigned you with your DNA that you are a man, and no, men cannot have babies. I saw a picture the other day of this fat dude with a big ass boob, baby latched onto the boob, bald dude, full chest hair and everything, attempting to breastfeed and saying, oh, he'll latch, but he's not getting, we're not able to get any milk production. Well, no fucking shit, dude.
Oh shit.
You're a fucking dude.
Where the mammary glands? Show me where the mammary glands are, sir.
This is what this is, though. This is total insanity. The people that are feeding into this and buying into this are one of two. They're either being hired and being groomed to be groomers, right? I think there's some of that going on. I think there is because of the demoralization, I do believe that there is a push for more of these people to be in school. Because I'll tell you, dude, like, again, call it conspiracy theory, call it what it is. It's very interesting to me that the uptick of this certain type of person, the trans or the gender neutral or whatever, why are they all flocking to education? So something's a little fishy to me there, right? And so that could be one. Or two, again, it might just be the low wages. It might be that nobody else is wanting to do that job, so you're seeing more of these pop up. Or are we just being shown a shitload of these stories because they're the outlier? And trans people, actual trans people, make up, I think, about, don't quote me on this, but I think it's 1% or 1.5% of the population, if that. And so we're catering 99% of the population doesn't vibe with you, dude. We know we're a man. We know we're a woman. We're not confused. And we feel a little bit bad for you that you're confused, because it must suck to be a man trapped in a woman's body or vice versa. So yeah. I feel your pain. I get that, right? And I understand that is a very sad thing. Nobody listening to the show right now, no dude right now hearing this would be proud to be a man that feels like they're a woman, right? Like, that's a shitty feeling. And I've thought about it. I'm like, fuck, man, those people have some pretty dark thoughts when you wake up every day and you see your breasts and your vagina and you wish you had pecs and a cock, right? Like that's a very skewed vision of yourself when you wake up on a daily basis. But again, and just to reference the Chappelle piece, is he goes hard to the paint on them, and he's done it for a while. And he had the trans friend who took her life, and I think that really shook him. And that last special that he did, I think it was called The Closer, when he talked about that. Dude, and like really put it into perspective, his jokes and everything leading up to this over the years, they've all been funny, right? When he goes through the alphabet people and the gays and the les and the L's and the B's and the T's and it's funny shit, man. We all laugh at it because he brings humor to the world of being able to make fun of everybody. He makes fun of whites. He makes fun of blacks. He makes fun of Hispanics. He makes fun of trans. He makes fun of gays. He's awesome at bringing comedy back to the forefront of our lives because we can laugh about it. And now people are trying to cancel him. He is uncancelable, by the way. But people try to cancel him because they don't like it, right? They're like, oh, you can't make jokes about that. Motherfucker, I've been making jokes about this, about everybody. I'll make fun of myself better than you can make fun of me. So yes, I'm going to continue to do this.
That's why, and that's why we don't get offended, because we can laugh at ourselves too, because we're just comfortable. We're comfortable.
And that's it. If you're comfortable and you're confident in your own skin, I'll laugh at white jokes all day long, just like everybody can laugh at black jokes or Hispanic jokes or Asian jokes or whatever. I don't see color, dude. And so when I hear racial jokes that I know are not truly meant to offend me or hurt me, I'm going to laugh about it because it's funny shit. We're meant to laugh. Laughter is the best fucking medicine. And when we've taken this humor and comedy out of society, all because of this narrative that we've got going, and we're trying to indoctrinate kids at the fucking lowest level possible, where they don't have parents to protect them, and they want to be made to feel inclusive, and they want to be made to say, oh, you're playing with Barbie. Okay, well, you probably don't need a penis anymore. The shit is fucked up, dude. So let's shift gears. Let's talk about what you wanted to talk about, because I have
you went on, dude. There's a lot of things I could say in regards to what the hell you just went over, because you touched on a lot of points right there, man. But what I will say, at least to start this off, is you feel like, oh, man, what's going on? Are people getting paid for this shit? I think it's just social media, dude. I feel like it's just most people, because it started to become that trend, the virtue signaling trend, right? Everybody wants to be an ally, right? That's the bullshit, right? That's kind of the thing that they're feeding people, because if people can feel like they're an ally, they can feel like they're part of a movement. It makes them feel good.
Or a social justice warrior.
I'm actually doing something. No, you're not. You're a fucking keyboard warrior who's posting a fucking picture. Yeah. Whatever the hell it is, you're not doing a damn thing. You're not donating to the cause. You're not out there, standing up against people, and you're going and rallying and all this. You're not doing any of that shit. You're just making little posts that take you like 7 seconds, 8 seconds max. Just so you could be like, I'm a good guy. I'm an ally. Oh, my kid, little Ken wants to be a girl. Oh, yes, great. I'm an ally. How can I support you, kid? How can I convert you from a man to a woman? Because you are a 5-year-old kid who's confused because you think that you want to be a woman because you like Barbies. Bro, that's not the way this works. That's not the way this works. People need to stop virtue signaling and start using their damn brain. Stop using your damn heart, dude, because it's misleading some of you guys out there. You guys just like, I want to feel good inside. Well, if you want to feel good inside, then do what's best for people. Don't do what's best for you. Talking about how I'm going to help my kid become a woman because it makes him truly happy. No, you little bitch. Don't lie to your fucking self. You're doing this and making it publicly known because you want to feel good about you. If you gave a fuck about the best interests of your child, you would ask questions to identify why exactly they feel this way and help walk them through this shit to see if this is valid or not. People are so quick to want to just be like, I'm a good human being because I'm raising a gay son, a gay daughter. Fuck, your kid is fucking 4 years old. Fuck you mean? If my kid ever so now let's transition to this into children, right? Because like another thing you talked about is, right, dude, there's a difference between exposure, which I want my kid to have, and manipulation. If I walk into a class and there's a crazy teacher wearing a clown outfit, pink ass hair, fucking 50 piercings on her face, and her 95% of her body's covered in tattoos, but she stays in her lane and does her job, I'm okay with that, because that is called exposure. that is exposing my child to the different human beings that are out there in the world. And that is good for him to understand that. Because the reason why a lot of bullying happens, a lot of shit talking happens, are because people talk shit and bully people who are different from them.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be
I agree with that.
exposed to the different type of people so they can understand this and not bully them and accept them and treat them as everybody else, because that's all we want. I'm going to teach my kid to treat everybody the same: boy, girl, gay, lesbian, looking kind of crazy, looking
Mm-hmm.
kind of normal, mundane, loud, quiet. It doesn't matter. Treat everybody the same. Treat them and love them based on their character, not their appearances, because we don't
Yep.
want to judge and stereotype, right? But that's exposure. If we go into that class, this person could look like you and I, perfectly normal. But if they happen to be gay and trying to make my kid gay by making him do certain things that are outside of his scope of expertise, which would be like maybe math, social studies, science, whatever it may be, now we have a fucking problem, because I don't care what you look like. I care about what it is that you're doing with my child. There is
Yep.
a significant difference between exposure and manipulation. Manipulation is wrong, and it should not be the job of the teacher to manipulate my kid to think a certain way so you could change his thought process, so he might end up in another place where he might not be happy with later on in life because you did some shit and said some shit that you weren't even supposed to say to begin with.
Yeah.
It's wrong. It's ridiculous, man. So now that I said that, based on what you said, let's talk about what the fuck would you do if your kid said some shit, right? Because I know what I would do if my kid came up to me. Ace comes up to me, right? Let's say he goes to school now. He's 5 years old. Now he's in kindergarten, right? If my kid goes, Dad, I think I like being a girl. I want to be a girl. First question I'm going to do is be like, okay, what is a girl, Ace? He's just gonna be like, I don't know, long hair, I don't know, blah 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 blah, because all the girls look the same as the guys at that age, right? They just have
Mm-hmm.
long hair and dress with different colors and different types of clothes, but essentially there's little human beings too, right?
Yep.
So I'm the first question I'm gonna ask him, so what is it? What is it? And he's gonna point out some random shit. Okay, and the next question I'm gonna ask him is, okay, so why do you feel like that? And he's gonna be like, well, I don't know. I was playing with my friend Cindy, and she was playing with Barbie dolls, and I was playing with her too. I'm like, bro, that doesn't make you gay. That just means you're playing with a girl. Girls can be your friends just like boys can be your friends. You can play with toys that are designed for girls and still be straight. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, you can't say that your kid hasn't played with a girl toy or some shit or done something that's not masculine. My kid doesn't wake up every morning and do fucking 10 push-ups and say, "What's up, Dad? How you doing? What we taking protein today?" No, dude, he's a kid. He doesn't
No.
know this shit. He's just growing up.
You know,
Ask
what you're
questions.
saying though, dude, it's going to resonate with a lot of dads. I guarantee you, because I've talked to quite a few of them, and in our directly in our community as well. And yes, so the answer is yes. My 2-year-old does not do anything girly just yet. However, my 7-year-old does, and he has wanted a girl toy at the store before. He does go through the house after he takes a shower. He might put the towel around his head and flap the towel around and be like, "I'm a girl," and like shake the towel like it's his hair, right?
Dude,
Um,
I've done that when I was a kid because I
well,
because I saw
yeah,
my
yeah.
mom doing it. I wasn't like acting like a woman, but I was just like, like just
No,
playing
I know.
around because I
But
saw my
let me.
mom do shit.
Yeah,
I've done
yeah. I
that.
get it. I get it. So he'll do
Yeah.
other things. He'll get some girly shit. Some bracelets and stuff, or like some. There's like a pink fucking unicorn sparkle something, right? Like it's a popular color among it's rainbow sparkle glitter and all this shit. He might get that and like put it on and all these cues and signs that he likes some girl shit, right? There is a certain population out there that would take that and run with it. I saw a lady post the other day. She's like having I'm so proud of my two girls. They're both transitioning, or they're both planning to transition. One of them is 7, one of them is 9, and they're
See,
both trans. And I'm like, no,
that's
no,
what
no,
I'm
no,
talking about.
no, no.
That parent's a
You're
piece of
trans.
shit.
You're
That
a
parent's a
human being, piece of shit. Because
that
you
parent's a piece of shit. Just wants to be a fucking ally and wants the attention on her, not her children. That's
That's it.
fucking wrong.
That's it. One could say
Wrong.
there's a guy out there named Dwayne Wade who's a basketball player who also has a trans kid who plays into this role as well. And I heard on an interview not long ago, somebody asked him, I forget exactly who asked him, and he's like, he says, "What do you do when your kid comes home with this or that?" And he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "My kid is a free spirit. I support them in whatever they want to do." And I'm like, no, no, no. You're the dad, motherfucker. I don't care how
Yeah.
good of a basketball player you were. Your job as a father is to educate and influence your child in the best way you possibly can and lead by example. If you lead by example and you get out and you take little Jimmy to kick the soccer ball around and you do this for years and years and years, and he decides when he's 18 that he's like, you know, Dad, I still think I'm a girl. Well, now you got a whole different conversation. But when you're 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, and your boy wants to play with a Barbie or two, and all of a sudden you're going to take it and say, you know what? I think you want to be a girl now. You are a fucked up individual in your head, dude. And you're the one with the problem, not the kid. Why have we gotten away from leadership in the home and influencing our children in the best way possible? Because here's the thing, dude. If you go back to like the core part of this conversation, and like we talked about the the demoralization of society, the indoctrination with all this going on. Dads aren't in the homes anymore. We did an episode not long ago where I went over the statistics behind fatherless homes and like what kids grow up to be with fatherless homes. And when you strip dad out of the home and you've got a working mom and you've got vulnerable kid who doesn't have a father figure and has a working mom all the time and is being indoctrinated by the fucking school to be a him, they, them, she, shim, dude, this is a problem and it's not going away. And it starts with dad in the home becoming more informed with what your kid's learning in school and becoming a active participant in your child's education. That means getting involved at the school. That means going to the PTA meetings, your parent-teacher association meetings. That means going to the school board meetings if you're in a district where this shit is going on. Luckily, I'm not seeing a lot of it, again, because I'm in Texas. But, dude, you better believe my happy ass will be right the fuck there the moment I catch wind of any of this being said or done to my child.
Yep. I got nothing. I got nothing to add there, man. I think this is just so important.
Go for hours on this.
We really can, man. I think some key points that we've talked about this shit is to understand the difference between exposure and manipulation. Mm-hmm. That's important. Understand that if you're virtue signaling and using your kid as the prop, you're the problem, not the kid. You're a piece of shit and you're gambling with your kid's life. Because if you make permanent changes to a child who doesn't know any better yet, who hasn't even gone through puberty, because surprise, surprise, you think that I was interested in some girly shit when I went through puberty? No, I was interested in girls, period. Mm-hmm. Not girly shit. You know what I mean? So like when you're manipulating a child's hormones before they've had the ability to produce their own, to fill in their shoes and start to try become their own person. Why do you think we go through puberty? We start acting weird, doing weird shit. Because now we're like, holy shit, I'm my own human being. It's time for me to start trying to find that. I was like you, man, but different. I didn't have a lot of face piercings, all that shit like that. But sometimes I wear tighter clothes. Sometimes I wear baggy clothes. Because I was like, fuck, who am I? I still don't even know.
I was a raider, dude. My jeans look like I was wearing a fucking dress. Remember those 52-inch bottoms? Dude.
No, I know you, but I know what you mean. Like, we don't even know what the hell, how we want to dress. How do we know if we want a dick or not, if we don't even know if we like fitted clothes or baggy clothes based on what you see from other people?
It's insane, man.
It's crazy, right? So you cannot make permanent decisions without going through your own natural biology. Yep. And start becoming the person that you are first. Yep. When you intervene before they even get to that point, that is dark. That is bad. And like I said, when I said you're gambling with your kid's life, I mean it, because suicide rates are extremely high among people that do permanent procedures and then regret it later on because they did it way too early. If your brain is not at least full, your brain's not fully developed. I talked to a psychologist and he told me that your brain's not fully developed until your early 20s.
Yeah.
So
that should be the age limit.
That's not the case. Exactly.
If you can buy alcohol at 21, then you at 21 can then decide if you want to cut off your dick.
I think that is based on what we understand about the time it takes to develop the brain fully. I think that is when you have the mental capacity to make that type of permanent decision. Now, is that going to be the case? Probably not. But does it make the most sense? Yes. But
a hell of a lot more than what we're seeing right now with 7 and 8 year olds getting their wieners chopped off.
That's messed up. That is messed up, man. And that is absolutely messed up, man. There was a story a long time ago, right? And I forgot when it was, like the 70s or something like that. There was a kid So a long time ago, I guess they used to circumcise people with some like electrical thing or some. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly what it was, but anyway, so this kid born a boy, they circumcise him, right? Mess up, cut his whole dick off. So
Mm.
guess what the parents did? Instead of having them own up to it and just being like, okay, you're a boy, there was a little bit of a mess up here. They raised him like a girl,
Holy
and
shit, man.
throughout his life he was getting confused as to why do I feel an attraction towards women even though I'm a woman? Is something wrong with me? Am I
Mm.
gay? And because this is the 70s, right? This is before the
Yeah,
gay,
before
like gay,
all
if
this
you're
shit.
gay, you're
Yep.
like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you. You're a terrible person, right? Something's wrong with you. That's how they were in the 70s. So that he kind of tried to keep it at bay. And it fucked him up because they did not tell him about it until he was way older. And he's like, oh my gosh, I lived all these years confused as fuck because I didn't realize that this was the case. Dude,
Congratulations, parents.
congratulations, parents. You really fucked that kid up in the head because you
You
made
ruined his
him
life.
live. Yeah, you made
Ruined his
him live
life.
a
And that was an
majority of his
accident.
young adult life confused as shit. And then you told him the truth. That's crazy. That's like a kid thinking that you're biological parents. And then when they're 18, they're like, oh, you're adopted. That could be heartbreaking, dude.
Dude, it'll
You know what I
fuck you
mean?
up mentally. Yep.
That
Yep.
could
Yep.
be heartbreaking. Although these are the people that you obviously care about and you love, they raised you, they provided for you. But if you find that out, you're like, you feel like it was just a lie. Like, I can't believe you wouldn't tell me something like that
Mm-hmm.
about me. So I
Mm.
messed them up, man. So
Dude.
you can only imagine some of the parents when they do this out of their own decision, because that was a mistake that the doctor
Yeah.
made. Imagine if you hated your life because your dad or mom said, cut my kid's dick off at 7. You're
And
gonna
then
remember that,
and
dude.
then at
You don't think there's
27,
gonna
you
be
take your
resentment?
life, and now your parents don't even have a kid anymore because they fucked you
You
up.
you think there's
That's
not
a
going to be resentment in that relationship?
mm.
You think there's not going to be some kind of gender dysmorphia? You don't think there's going to be any kind of psychological issues, dude? That's how depression occurs.
You know
Shit
what
like
I'm
that.
curious? Over the next like decade or so, I'm curious how many of these kids that are currently transitioning right now
Sad
end
thought.
up actually happy with the transition and knowing they made the right decision at 7 to cut off their wiener or cut off their breasts. Like,
That's a sad
dude,
thought, dude.
it's really fucked up because I'm going to guarantee you that the percentage of those kids that are actually happy they made that decision is going to be less than 5%. It's going to be less than 5%.
Even
And that
even if it was 50%, even
they've
if it was
created an
50%, that's still
industry around
sad.
this, dude. They've
Yeah,
created an
man.
entire medical industry around transition surgeries. It's not going away.
Yeah,
It's a
not right.
brand new industry. And now they're like, oh fuck. Because, dude,
We can make
think
money
about
off this. Yeah,
think about this.
and
It's
then
not
some
just the
insurances
surgery.
will pay.
Listen, it's not just the surgery. Now you fucked them up for the rest of their lives. And now they are relying on you to continue to feed them to make them a man or a woman. That doesn't end with the surgery. You got to keep going back. You become dependent on the medical system to maintain your status as a male or a female because you transition. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry that they've created. And you've seen what's happened with the other industries they've created. It ain't going away. So as fathers, it's on us to become more aware, recognize the difference between influence and manipulation, and become an active parent, an active participant in your children's education process, not just in first or second grade, all throughout school, so that you are an integral part of their education, not just a drop-off parent for the school system.
Yeah, this is crazy. You know, people listening to this, it's just funny because if we actually like, let's pretend we were big public figures or something like that. Let's pretend we had millions of followers. Do you know how many people would tear this podcast apart and
That's
take
okay.
a lot of these experts out and make it seem like we're just huge bigots?
Yeah.
Because that's the way that social media works and
Yep.
media in general works nowadays. So that's why there's so much misinformation out there. What people don't understand is we're not, first of all, at all. We
You don't
want
even have to
every
say
single
that. You
person.
can listen to the episode and tell and see
Of
right
course,
through
as
it.
long as you listen to the whole thing, man. But I just want people to understand that we're not bigots. We don't hate any particular group of people. I mean, evil people, I could say we don't like, obviously, but that's because we judge people based on their character, not their appearance or any of that shit, right? We base them on what they do and all that good stuff like that. I mean, that's just the reality of what it is, right? I mean, let's get the shit out of the way. You only have 2 opportunities to make a first impression: how you look and what the hell comes out of your mouth, right? So of course, and that's just natural humans. We're always going to make assumptions, right? But the bottom line is, I don't give a shit what you do. We don't care what you do. We want our children to grow to be good human beings, productive members of society, and living their life on fire to their fullest potential, right? And treat everybody along the way equally. That's it. And to never, ever, ever force their beliefs down anybody's throat. Only try to talk. If it's a debate, sure. If they ask questions, sure. If it's a conversation, sure. But never just go out and be like, I'm going to turn this person into this. I'm going to turn this person into that. I'm going to manipulate this kid. I'm going to make sure he grows up a certain way. Because if you do, you're a piece of shit. It's not your job. It's not your job if it's not your kid, especially.
No, can't agree with you more, dude. This, if you guys got value out of this episode, man, like go back and listen to it, man. Like the reality is this: we're providing you some opportunity to hear this from other dads because we're concerned, dude. Like we're with you. We're on your side when it comes to the craziness that's going on in our country right now, especially when it comes to the grooming of children. This is happening in major companies as well. I don't know if you've seen, but like Disney's released a bunch of these fucking movies lately that are completely collapsing in the box office, dude. People are, the go woke, go broke mentality. If you're a woke company, people are boycotting that. We don't want that as a society, dude. And when you're putting gays and trans and all this stuff in kids' cartoons growing up and like really pushing that on them at a young age, I've already canceled Disney in my house. We will not be getting any Disney movies. My sister-in-law went to take her kids to a Disney movie the other day. It's a new one. And she did a little bit of research before she took them. Good on her for doing that. And found out that there was like a big push on a gay or a trans character in the movie. She's like, I'm not taking them. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that to my children. They're too young. They don't need to be asking questions about that at 6 years old. It's not okay. And so the go woke, go broke mentality is happening, man. And Disney's pushing the shit and nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to hear it. And
they are. The executives at Disney have stated on record and recorded videos talking about how they want to make at least 50% of everything they put out, like gay, minority, whatever. And I understand I understand equal representation and all that good stuff like that. But again, that is not exposure. No, that's manipulation.
It is because, at a mass scale.
That's what they want to do. But guess what? Her orientation is that she's trying to push. That what she's trying to push. So that is manipulation, man. It's not right. Don't force your shit down my kid's throat because you live that life.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
We'll end it there, man. If you guys got value today, just share the show. Share it with another dad in your life who would love to hear two dads jamming on this shit, man, because we know how you feel. Zach and I both are very aligned on this, and it's not okay. It's not okay what we're seeing in the education system. I think a lot of the 3-letter agencies need to go away and be abolished, and I think we need a massive overhaul of the educational system. And that's my personal beliefs. And if you got value today and you think another dad would benefit from listening to our show, share the show. If you need help, go down into the show notes and click the links, dude. There's a free 60-day program that you guys can grab right now called LP60. We've had a lot of guys reach out to us, especially around the GBR method, which is extremely powerful. So go grab your free copy of LP60. And then last but not least, if you have any topic suggestions, if you want to hear more about a certain topic from us, go into the reviews. Go leave us a review. And in your review, give us a little blurb what you thought about the show, but then add your topic, and Zach and I will make sure we cover that topic in an upcoming episode. So this episode comes out on Christmas. Merry Christmas to every single one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic, actually the day after Christmas. My apologies. 26th.
26th.
Yeah. I'm talking Sunday. So we hope you had an amazing Christmas. And a happy holidays. We hope you're gearing up for a very successful 2023. We will be bringing you a lot of exciting episodes in 2023. We'll see you next week. You guys have a fantastic week. See you soon.